Hey everybody, and welcome to Chat Sessions with Steph and Seth. We are really excited that you're watching our first ever episode.
That's right.
And this
From
is
my office.
From Stephanie's office. Yeah.
That's right.
So I'm Seth Swafford, and
I'm Stephanie Sullivan.
And together we make up Steph and
Seth.
Hey, we're like the Regis and Kathy Lee of Northwest Arkansas. That's what we are.
Yeah, I'm not going to sing that.
Just in our life.
Yeah,
just in general. Yeah.
So we are Facebook friends that became friends in real life. Nonprofit work brought us together. We're going on a little over a year of knowing each other. And we're an unlikely pair. We could not be any more opposite. He is 6'6". I'm 5'0", and I'm 40, and he's 23. And I could almost be his mother.
This is my Jordan year.
It is your Jordan year. That's right. So anyway, welcome to my office. Welcome to our show. We are just, the focus of this show is just really to hopefully be encouraging and hopefully be funny about how two unlikely friends come together and really...
It's just about our life.
Yeah,
this is about our life and kind of how our life has kind of intertwined with each other and all the crazy fun things that we're doing.
That's right. We both are very social. We like to go and do things all the time here. And the thing about living in Northwest Arkansas is that there's always something to do. There's always a gala. There's always a nonprofit raising money. There's always somewhere to go hiking or... Crazy
stories.
That's right.
We'll tell stories of things that are coming up, things that have been going on.
Yes. And
nonstop.
For example, just 2 weeks ago, I was in Sonoma. And
oh yeah, how did that go?
It was awesome. We stomped some grapes. Hadn't done that before, and we won our heat.
Went from Kathy Lee to Lucille Ball.
There you go. That's right. And I was expecting us to have to wear these fun little Italian dresses with off the shoulder and the broomstick skirts and things.
Yeah, where you're stomping around.
Yeah, no. It was, we were in a whiskey barrel about that big, full of grapes, and they gave us this huge t-shirt. It was an extra large t-shirt, so it went to my knees. And my friend Jenny and I
it would come like up to here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so my friend Jenny and I just signed up for it kind of on a whim when we were out there, and we won our heat. Apparently, who knew that Arkansas girls could be so proficient in grape stomping? So we thought about maybe calling up Whitaker Post to see if they would hire
Is that
us.
just a recreational activity? Like you don't actually drink, they don't ferment that or anything? No, because it's like people's feet is in there.
People's feet that have just come out of shoes.
Yeah,
no.
Exactly.
It's not clean.
So it's just an activity.
Yeah, it's just fun, just for bragging rights.
Yes.
But anyway, now all that is in flames. And so
the
that's
wildfires
crazy.
Are going on.
And so we got back from Sonoma, and just a few days later, we got back on a Monday, and the following Sunday, everything went up in flames, and it was just insane. And we made some friends out there, and so we were texting them on Monday when we woke up to that news, and
that's crazy.
Yeah, they were all evacuating. It
was my gosh!
Nuts. So one of the most
and our thoughts and prayers are definitely with all those people.
Absolutely.
Because it's just heart-wrenching to hear about all of that. It's crazy. And you also went, speaking of stomping grapes, you also went to Italy. I did. So how did that go? Because I know the pictures were incredible that I was
2
seeing.
weeks of a little bit of heaven on earth. Italy is... I definitely think I've got some Italian roots because I fit right in.
Really?
In Italy, yes.
I've never been. It's on my bucket list. I want to go so
There
bad.
were parts that I could have stayed forever. There were parts that I'm glad we just were there for 2 days. But, the Amalfi Coast in Cinque Terre, in Tuscany are definitely bucket list items.
Oh, yeah.
The Amalfi Coast did not disappoint.
Yes.
At all.
Because you're a big Tuscany girl, right?
I am a big Tuscany girl.
Yes. That's like fulfilling a lifelong...
But we didn't get to stay long enough there. So I do want to go back and stay, I don't know, a week or 10.
I know, I was super jealous. I went to Australia back, I guess it's been about 3 years ago now. And it was incredible because it's great to, even though you're Australia's an English-speaking country, so even though you're in an English-speaking country, you're in such a different culture.
Exactly.
It's completely different than what you think it's going to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And getting to see the outback, and we went through the Blue Mountains and all of that, and it was just an incredible experience.
That's right. And so, like in Italy, anytime you went to a restaurant or went anywhere, they just basically rolled out a red carpet for you. They wanted you to come in, and it was like going into their dining rooms. It was. They wanted you to have a great experience. They wanted you to enjoy the food. They wanted you to drink all the wine and just have so much fun. But one of the things I learned, though, was about the differences in the wine over there versus here, in that they have, just by default, more of an organic wine. They don't have all the preservatives and all the sulfites.
You probably don't get as bad of a hangover either.
We did not have hangovers.
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
But
that cheap wine you buy down at the Five and Dime, no. That will mess you up.
That's right. But I drink
that.
more beer though than wine, ironically enough. So there were 3 beers that I kind of alternated between, and
yes,
you can't get them here, so it was really nice to be able to enjoy that too.
That's
so it's
awesome.
more than just wine over there.
That's awesome.
That's right.
That's incredible. So one of the things we were talking about, we were sitting at dinner the other night, and we were just kind of chatting about different things that were going on, and we were talking about this scam that's going around Northwest Arkansas.
Oh.
There's a scam going around selling magazines.
Yeah.
And you said you had them come up to your door. I had heard about this, but until you said that it happened.
Well, it all goes back to just I'm gonna use a term that my friend Jenny uses, and it's called just leaning in.
Yeah.
Where when someone knocks on your door, lean in a little and just say hi and kind of get some of their story and talk to them. And in doing so, my neighbor was actually doing that, and he's an attorney down in Fayetteville. And this young, beautiful girl, he didn't know how old she was at the time, but she came knocking on his door, selling magazines and books. And he was home alone with his 2 young daughters, and so the fact that he even answered the door was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was.
Because you never know.
You never know. And but anyway, he got to talking to her, and he said there was just something that grabbed him about her. He didn't really know what that was, and he just knew that she was very well spoken and very kind, seemingly kind.
Yeah.
And, very sweet personality, and so he started talking to her about where's she from, what's she doing, and things like that. And come to find out, she had been raised in foster care. Both of her parents died when she was under 10. I'm not exactly sure how old she was, but from the age of 10 forward, she was raised in foster care. She and her 2 sisters, and so really she was 19 when she came to our door last week, and she had no one and nothing really, and she just basically had just aged out of foster care. She didn't have anywhere to go.
Wow.
So this company kind of snatched her up. She knew some folks that were working with them, and she connected with them in Baltimore, and the next day they drove them to Joplin, Missouri. He asked her what she needed, and she just needed a ride to Walmart so she could go pick up a warm jacket because it had gotten really cold that day, and she needed some cash.
Wow.
And so
we just never know how fortunate
that's
we are,
right.
and how blessed we are.
That's right. And so I took her to Walmart, and we did all those things. She bought a burner phone because she didn't have a phone and things like that. But as we were talking to her later, we just found out that she was being exploited. Even though she voluntarily went to work for this company, and they gave her a job, it was a very crappy job, by the way. And so in the middle of all that, I am texting my friend who runs Hub of Hope, get that right. And it works with modern day slavery, human trafficking, that type of thing. And so I was reaching out to her asking, is this legit? Like, is this a...
Yeah.
And come to find out, it is illegal, but it's on the bubble. It's very unethical, the way that they treat these folks. And so in essence, what they do is, in this exact case, there were 80 young adults that had been dropped off in Joplin at the Econo Lodge, and they were staying there. 80 people are on this crew, is what they call them, boys and girls alike. And
are they all of the same general age, or are they very...
Yeah, and they usually have nowhere to go. They're basically just... So, that, in essence, I guess they're trying to get them off the street, but at the same time, they're exploiting them and taking advantage of them and being in a bad situation.
And basically the only way that if I understand correctly, the only way that they get away with it is they do pay them like a weekly a very small weekly
so this
fee.
girl was paid $400 a week, but $175 of that $400 had to go into the hotel bill, and then whatever food she needed or clothes that she needed had to come from the rest of that. So you're looking at very meager wages. And so started talking to this girl and started sharing with her about, she didn't have to work there. There are organizations and nonprofits around, like Saving Grace, for example, which this girl fit exactly because she had just aged out of foster care, that could offer her a fresh start.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to see her interest in that and work with her over the next day or two, trying to figure out all those details. But at the end of the day, the lesson was, when someone knocks on your door and there's just something not right, you just lean in and you kind of talk to them.
That's a really good lesson.
That's right.
Lean in.
Lean in. And also, you'll want to be prepared with some emergency shelter contacts if you need to know how, just at least give them a phone number or a ride somewhere.
And we can, if anybody else, finds out about, if somebody does come to your door with this same kind of story, we'll put some contact info down in the description box.
That's right.
That way, you guys kind of know who you can contact for these kind of things. Because I just thought it was so interesting whenever we started talking about it over dinner the other night. Because it was incredible.
Yeah. So part 2 of that is that on Saturday night, First Baptist Bentonville had this Night of Hope, where they took 18...
Which is a great event.
Yep. And it's a small event.
Yes.
And I think this was their first or second year of doing this. I'm not exactly sure how long it may have been doing it. I don't think very long, because it's really small still.
Yes.
But they
I saw the pictures.
Yeah. So they took 18 nonprofits. They chose 18 small nonprofits, like Hub of Hope, like PACT, like some others. Yeah. And they had a fundraiser. They did silent auctions and brought in these guest speakers and things, and just really had a night of worship, but also a night of raising money. And they were going to split those profits 18 different ways. And when you run a small nonprofit, a little bit of money goes a long way.
Exactly.
And it was really important to support that. So, I was able to give back to the organization that supported me in a split-second situation that I never knew that I would find myself in.
So, okay, shifting directions a little bit into a little bit of a lighter note. Tell me, what are some of the things that you're, addicted to right now? What are the things on the internet that you're watching? Have you come across any really good videos? Any funny things? Because I know we talk about this all the time, and all of my friends, we send each other memes and videos back and forth, and we have group messages.
Yes.
And so, what is your big thing that you've been seeing?
Heather Land. I don't know if you've been watching her videos, but I stayed up late one night just watching all of her videos. She does the I Ain't Doing It.
Okay, yes,
YouTube.
I've seen some of them.
And what makes it funny is that it's what everybody's thinking, but nobody will say.
Yes.
Yes.
She's the one that has the big mouth and the big eyes that she
does
a Snapchat filter on. Yes.
Yeah. And there's been so many people that have popped up trying to duplicate that just because it's so funny.
Yes.
But Heather just does it, and she does it well, and she gets right to the point.
I saw the one that I saw that I thought was hilarious was she said something about a prayer chain from your church, and she's like, I don't even read it. There, I said it. And she was basically like, you can't leave the prayer chain because then the next prayer chain is going to be about you.
Yeah.
And I busted out laughing. It was hilarious.
So true. One of my favorite ones, though, is in the school drop-off line. And it's talking about the car in front of them where they're just taking way too long. And then they're creeping along. And then they're just, this is an everyday routine. And she finally just is like, Jesus. Wheel.
Yes.
And just I'm not a good storyteller, but that's pretty funny. So you check her out. Heather Land is hilarious and brings a lot of clean, good, fun humor into everyday life.
Yes. And the one that the thing that I have really loved lately is there's a video that's been circulating that I showed you yesterday. Yeah. We were at a meeting yesterday, and it's basically a video where a PE coach he's really not a PE coach. He's more like the associate pastor, of a church, and they have their teenagers line up on a football field.
Yep.
And he basically tells them asks them questions like, you know, how many of you, your parents are still married? How many of you never had to worry about the bills being paid? How many of you never had to worry about where your next meal's coming from? And every time the answer was yes for that student, they got to take 2 steps forward. And at the end of all of his questions, he asks probably 15 questions or so. He has the ones at the front turn around, and there's a whole line of students that are still at the end of the field that never got to take a step forward because their parents are divorced, or they did have to help their parents with money, and they did have to get a job at a really young age, and all of that. And it basically just says that, you know, people don't understand what privilege is. They don't understand that they have been privileged, and that hit me really hard. At the, you know,
the difference between privilege and right.
It's the difference between privilege and right, and it's also the difference between understanding that we all have our own race. Everybody has their own race, but you're on a very different timeline than the person sitting next to you as to how you get to where you're going. And it's an incredible video. I shared it on my Facebook. I think you shared it on yours.
I did. It was
powerful. Amazing. Very, very powerful. I really enjoyed it.
So what are you doing this weekend?
Oh my gosh. So I'm actually going home. I'm from Mountain View. I'm from Mountain View, Arkansas, north central part of the state. Yep. So I'm going home this weekend, visiting family. You know, I have 3 nephews and 2 nieces, and so they keep us busy. So I'm going home to see them this weekend. It's been a little while.
Well, I'm going to the Razorback game.
Fun. Well, here's the thing. So here's the thing. A Razorback game is always fun. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm here for it. I went to the University of Arkansas. I'll still always say that the best place to be on game day is the student section at a University of Arkansas game.
Fair.
Incredible. But, oh, heaven help us. It's rough out here for a Hog fan. It is rough. And have you seen the meme? Do you know what It is? The Stephen King novel, It? And they had the new movie with... Okay, so the kid in the movie It, you know, his boat falls down into like a well, and he goes down there to grab it, and that's when the clown comes up. So there's a meme circulating the internet at the moment where it's basically an Arkansas Razorback fan sticking their hand down a well, basically saying, "Is there a new coach down there?" Even knowing that there's a clown. It's a hilarious meme, and like everybody I know has been circulating it. I think people give the head coach a really hard time. Like, I mean, that's a difficult job. He has a very tough job. So shout out to Brett Bielema because I mean, hey, everybody's got a tough job, and you do too, man. The only problem is we don't have a whole state full of angry Arkansas fans.
That's right.
But
nothing like SEC football. Though.
Nothing like SEC football, and they're going to turn it around. I feel like they're going to turn it around.
They are.
Maybe not this year, but at some point.
Well, we play Auburn this weekend, so that's a crapshoot because you never know who's going to win that game.
It's going to be really interesting. Yep. I'll be watching for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be really good.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're going to wrap up the first episode. Basically, as you can see, this is just us kind of shooting the breeze with each other, catching up, but also sharing some really insightful information of things that we found out, not just in our community, but we're going to cover things worldwide, national, state things involving our state.
But things that impact us.
But things that impact us and what we're doing kind of in our lives. And we hope you follow along. Make sure and follow us on Instagram because we're going to be doing extra videos and stuff on there, kind of promoting the channel. And we'll put all of that in the link description below. So this was fun. It was a good first episode. Just kind of get to know us before we kind of break into the other stuff because we have so much planned. It's going to be such a fun time. Yeah. And I can't wait to show y'all the upcoming episodes because they are fire.
Yeah, and we never sit at home. So this is
gonna be
this is the first time I've actually used my office. And it's been like this for a year. So
yeah, and you said you had somebody come in and like fix it, right?
I did. Kim Moriarty. If you ever need an interior designer, Kim Moriarty will come and just work miracles. So I'll put her contact info in the bottom too. So
all right. Yeah. Well, thanks everybody so much. We'll be doing these videos weekly, so catch up with us next week when we post our second video. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Because for me to read that computer screen, I gotta have my glasses. So we're not that different.
Y'all, this is insane. Like, it's crazy. I just said y'all. Like,
But I was making sure.
Well, I was leaning there.
We'll sit up straight. I'm a little bossy, sorry.
We don't have to read what's on there. I'm just, would you...
You ready?
Show enough. I was like, I'm sorry to throw things on you. I was just thinking of it, like, as they came to mind. It's not too bad.
Oh, hang on. Oh my gosh.